Recording
Okay,
right
who is
away.
recording?
I'm recording. I started the recording, John.
Mhm.
Um, and if let's oh, hey Drew, Colette, hello.
Hey, John.
If
Okay.
participants could in the chat space put your name and maybe something that defines your interest, so that we have that we can capture that.
I think it's only 5 of us, huh?
That's what it looks like right now. Oh, Wu, now you started screen sharing, Wu, right?
Oh,
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
yeah, okay, got it.
yep.
Perfect. So the purpose of what we're doing today is really to get your input into a series of different questions. On the maps, we're going to be looking at things that you like, things you don't like, things that need improvement, and areas of opportunity. So we're actually going to go through 4 maps. Um, my name's John Goldstein. I live very near the Doremus Avenue corridor in the Ironbound, and am extremely interested in um, hoping that we can all think big about what the opportunities are here. But mostly this is about you. And since we have a little bit of time, uh, and it's, well, Claudia, why don't you introduce yourself, Wu, and then Drew and Colette also. Just briefly introduce yourselves.
okay. My name is Claudia Ordonez, and I am a community ambassador, also Hispanic commissioner for the city of Newark. And I lived in Newark most of my life. I did move to Florida for a few years, and I'm back and excited to be part of this project, participate in it at least. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Wu. I work with Claudia, the other Claudia, Claudia Ray, who has been part of the presentation. We have a lot of Claudias. And I work at WRT. I'm a planner and principal there.
Drew?
Hey, y'all. I'm Drew. I'm an Ironbound resident, and also I work as an organizer with Ironbound Community Corporation. We've done a lot of neighborhood planning as well as organizing and advocacy for this area. In particular, most recently, we completed a neighborhood plan for the East Ironbound, which is called East Ferry on your map too. Residents actually prefer the name East Ironbound to East Ferry, but I think there's should be a lot of ways that we can hopefully link the planning efforts and some of the goals from that plan with the goals for this plan.
And Colette?
Good evening. I'm Colette Santaseri, the Executive Director of the Center for Community Systems at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, which is up the hill a bit from our study area in Newark. And I guess a point of interest for you all, I hope, is that a number of years ago, I wrote my doctoral dissertation on the evolution of the Port of New York and New Jersey port city relationships and land use impacts between the operating port and redeveloping waterfronts on Newark Bay. So I have a pretty, a professional interest in this as well as an academic interest in this.
Great. So this is a beginning point in terms of the study. There are going to be a number of different opportunities for people to have input. And so don't feel like this is your only shot. And as Claudia mentioned, this exercise is also available online. So if you feel like you don't get all of your ideas in, you can, at your own time, go ahead and do that online. So we're starting, oh, one other thing. If you don't want to be recorded, if you want neither your video or audio to be recorded, please mute or stop the video because otherwise all of this is being recorded and will be available for people to use in the planning process. All right, so this is our first question, and this is about what you like, what things are valuable, and why. And this is really these are like sticky notes. You're going to be able to we'll be able to place your recommendation on the places that you mentioned. So anyone, I mean, I could start this off by just saying. A place that I like and is valuable is where I live, which is right here, John's house. So who's,
John, so I
sorry,
have the screen. So where would you like me to?
yeah, so can you see you can't see my arrow on the screen?
No, I can't. But
No,
if you
okay. So
can,
keep going to the left, keep going to the left, keep going, a little more. Perfect. You passed it. That's good enough.
okay.
And I think you can retitle that, right?
Yep.
All right, so folks have other places on the map that you would like to place a sticky note.
Yeah, this is Colette. I would place a sticky note on the port itself. It is a huge economic engine for this area. And then beyond this area, this region.
Drew, go ahead. Drew, if you got something, Drew.
Yeah, I would highlight the whole Ironbound neighborhood because it's immediately adjacent to the port and has to deal with the brunt of the environmental impacts, all the negative air quality and whatnot too. So I just want to make sure that we're protecting the interests of residents, and particularly residents in the East Ironbound too, which is one of the most environmentally overburdened and economically distressed neighborhoods, with a per capita income of $14,000 or so.
Drew, can I add to that? This is Colette. You know,
Sure.
so if we're talking about places that we value, you know, I would say that the Ironbound is an extremely valuable neighborhood to the city. It's a neighborhood of great diversity. It's a neighborhood of different cultures and nationalities, and it's just a valuable place for not only those who live there, but those who visit there. Great restaurants, great bakeries, you know, just has a lot to offer. So it's a very valuable place.
And really want to highlight some of the existing affordable housing there too,
Yeah.
to make sure that it gets preserved. Terrell Homes, Hyatt Court, Pennington Court, as well as subsidized buildings like Aspen River Park Apartments and Pacific Apartments.
Yeah, it's pretty much covered it all. I would say what I like about this area is the immediate access that it has to all the highways, 1 and 9, 280, as you can see there, 78. So it's perfectly located for economic growth.
And I would add to that that it's not just the highways, but access to public transit.
Yes.
You know, the Northeast Corridor there, PATH. It's a transportation gold mine in a lot of respects.
Though I would highlight, there is a challenge with public transit access too. The only bus line that really serves the Doremus Avenue area is
78.
the 25 bus, and that's extremely limited because it only gets out to the jail. And so a lot of folks who might work at the port have to walk all the way along Doremus Avenue with no sidewalks, no nothing, and there's been fatalities there, and the pedestrian fatalities in the past. So the job access itself to the port is not great at all.
Yeah, we could put that in the places that we don't like or the challenges that
Oh,
it has
sorry,
when we
I'm
get
getting
there.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. A great observation. I used to work at the jail as well, so I did take public transportation, and you're absolutely right. And Uber never gets it right. They go
Okay, I
next
think-
door.
I think we should move on to the next page.
Mhm.
Wu,
Good job, Boo.
excellent.
Hmm.
So much easier not having to do all these things.
Mhm.
All right, so this now we're going to talk about some places and things that we don't like that are on the map.
Ooh, I can go first. I have lots of them.
Okay. And
Go
Colette
What is-
could probably finish.
Go ahead,
I
Drew.
will
All you.
just all of the
Look at all
environmental
the stickies.
injustices and polluting sources. The Covanta garbage incinerator, the Darling fat rendering plant, Passaic Valley Sewage Commission, the port itself. I mean, it's a big driver of emissions too, whether it's the diesel coming from the ships, coming from the cranes, coming from the trucks, etc. And there's so many other polluting sources in the neighborhood too. The two natural gas plants, etc. We're way too overburdened by pollution in this neighborhood and in the whole Doremus Avenue planning area and adjacent to it.
I'm trying to approximate the locations. Here, so,
Let's let
That's
Wu
good.
catch
That's
up.
really good.
yeah.
Can reach out afterwards. Happy to send.
Well, I'm glad it's being recorded, so we'll get what you say on record there. You said a lot.
And while we're talking about the environmental issues, we obviously should talk about the Passaic River as well and the dioxin pollution from diamond alkali.
And the flooding that happens, both when it's combined sewer overflow flooding,
Absolutely.
as well as storm surge flooding like we saw during Hurricane Sandy. This whole area was underwater. Folks who worked at the jail and folks who were being detained at the jail were forced to do the muck out then at the time. I don't know if that's when you worked there, Claudia, but I know
No, that was right before even that snowstorm and the
Yeah.
a couple times when I was working there, just heavy rain would flood the area for a while. There was only one way you can come in, and I think that was through Market Street, the Market Street entrance. Any other entrance, you'd be flooded in if you had a normal car.
Mhm.
So I'd like to add to this. I mean, Drew mentioned a lot of the pollution and the air quality issues. And it was mentioned earlier in the presentation that there are Superfund sites and brownfield sites in the area. So there is a lot of soil contamination that needs to be addressed.
What emits the horrible smell?
One of the worst ones is Darling, the fat rendering plant. They actually, there's a lawsuit against them right now, and they've been fined by the state.
Okay.
But the sewage treatment plant also adds to it too. But
Okay.
Darling, I think, is the big one that we really smell in the neighborhood way too often.
Horrendous. Even working there,
Yep.
you don't want to even go out
Ooh.
for lunch. It was very,
Yep.
very bad. And in the evenings when I was home and I lived towards over where John said he lives, towards Penn Station, the smell would reach there.
Mhm.
So close to where the little city hall yellow ball is, I'm pretty sure the smell goes all the way up to there.
Oh yeah.
Would you add brownfield sites to the Superfund sites? Only because it's two different things. Thank you.
Very good point.
We've talked about it, but I think it deserves its own point, is the truck traffic. It's
Yeah.
both the emissions and the traffic, and it not only creates congestion getting onto each of the freeways, but Raymond Avenue, South Street, and even the residential streets in the Ironbound get port traffic.
Yeah. I got pinned between two trucks. And I did have car damage. So I can
You know,
attest to the trucks just being very overbearing and it just not if the streets are very opened, the trucks just go everywhere. So this
yeah, and we've actually done truck counts in the neighborhood with
Mhm.
residents, just including kids, and just the sheer number in an hour is huge.
Yeah.
And y'all, I actually have to jump off. I have another Zoom call at 7:30, but thank you for hosting this. I'll contribute more via the online map, and if you want to reach out, feel free.
Thanks, Drew. Good to
Alright,
meet
bye,
you.
y'all.
See you around.
Great. Why don't we
Good,
go
nice
on
seeing
to
you.
why don't we go into the third map of
Sure.
things that need improvement? It feels like we've talked about a lot of those in terms of the negative things. Air quality, that's good. Big time. So
Contaminated lands need to be cleaned up.
Mhm.
the recreation area along the riverfront need to be expanded. I mean, the beginnings of the riverfront trail are fantastic. And this is an opportunity to expand that, create even more access for more people to the riverfront. So the other, a really big piece, I think, of this is that we need to improve uh, the vision of what this redevelopment area is about. Right now, it has all kinds of different uses, from the ice center and the prison to the car towing lot to some light manufacturing, and it has no identity, and it also has such mixed uses that none of there's sort of no coordination, and we're missing a lot of opportunities by not having sort of this big picture of what the area could be and where different pieces contribute to a whole.
Unorganized. It's
Right.
unorganized.
Yes, it's really disorganized.
Public transportation, maybe access.
Definitely needs improvement. That's a good one. I mean, we do have, it's interesting because do have the biggest hub in the region at Newark Penn Station, and yet that's way at the end,
The other end.
opposite end of the Doremus Avenue, and
I think it
as soon
deserves
as
its like sub rail. It's a light rail that should go through there.
right. We used to have a rail line that went right through the Ironbound, but it's been
Mhm.
gone for a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think one of the challenges here is I want to say the juxtaposition here of the Doremus Avenue area with the port and with Ironbound. I mentioned earlier the port is a great economic engine, and this area could support that. However, as we talked about, there's a lot of negative impact on the residences of the Ironbound. So what needs to be improved is figuring out how this area can have a vitality, but also not be a burden to to the residents who live nearby in the Ironbound. And, that can be a tough juggling act there.
Great. So let's move on to the fourth screen, Will, if we can.
Yeah, let me just
Sure, you can get that one.
let me get that one in. Okay.
Good. And the fourth screen, so this is place area of opportunity. So I'll just throw out for the whole Doremus corridor, I feel like it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to think big like we did when we built the Prudential Center, and the city assembled all of the land, and just a significant amount of civic and public resources went into that development. And this is even, it's a much bigger area. And, we could be the port of the future. We could be a port like Rotterdam, or in India, or in China, where there's modern automated, very little reliance on trucks. And, we need to be, I think, that this is the opportunity, is that it's such a big parcel of land. It's so strategic, and we're only going to get one shot at doing this. So we need to do it right.
Yeah, we need to be visionary.
Absolutely.
But it's also an opportunity to bring those stakeholders together that sometimes are at odds with each other in this area. So it's an opportunity for collaboration, to come up with a plan and to implement a plan that satisfies a lot of different stakeholders, and gets this area moving in the right direction, that's supported by everyone who's has a vested interest here, whether you live there, or you're the Port Authority, or you're the local government, or whoever. This is a great opportunity for collaboration.
Yes, I agree. And I think because the amount of land that's out there that can be redistributed properly, it could do a lot more with what they have. The problem, I think, is there's a jail right in the middle of it all.
Yeah.
So, and that jail's how many years old? It's very new, maybe 3 years or 4 years old. John, do you know?
I think it's old. It's older than that. I've lived.
Oh, maybe
here.
the new building that they put up there.
Yeah, there's maybe a new building.
But
The jail's been there a long time, because it was there when I moved here.
yeah, the jail's been there for a little bit, but I think I don't know how they're going to redevelop around that. I mean, I don't know. That's going to be a challenge. It holds a lot of the ICE people, the ICE program,
Yeah, those are they're two separate facilities, actually, the ICE detention center and the jail.
yeah, it's right
So
next door.
Right next door, exactly.
They originally go into the main detention center, and then they're placed in the other one, in the ICE area, if they deemed it necessary. So, but I think the redistribution of the land would be really important to be more efficient with it, because it could do a lot more.
I sort of mentioned this before, but it is an opportunity. It's a challenge and an opportunity, thinking about the best use of the river and the bay, in terms of, there's the cleanup, there's the recreational opportunities. There was the mention earlier on of discussions about ferry service to other communities. Ferry Street was named Ferry Street for a reason. It actually there was a ferry at the end of it to get to like Bayonne. And so, the waterways they're a challenge, but they're definitely an opportunity.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring it back.
It would be great if Ferry Street actually led to the ferry again. That would be incredible. Any other sort of out of the box ideas here? And this is our chance. We're not constrained on this question by what is possible, really. I mean, by what's there or what's commonplace. This is a chance to really think about, about what's possible. We haven't talked at all about the airport, by the way. Um, the I'm sort of thinking about what the opportunity is with the airport. We're already building the path line, extending the path line to the airport.
I think a possibility for more residential buildings, maybe subsidized for the community. There's so much need for that.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, schools, we need, more schools. There's so much room back there.
But park space, obviously, the limited park space we have is highly utilized, which is great, but we could use more. There's this opportunity, the area where the Doremus corridor intersects with the Ironbound, particularly near the river. Where there's a number of public housing projects there, and I think there is a real opportunity. That's potentially a very desirable land as we clean up the river and as we extend the river walk. And so taking advantage of the riverfront is really important.
I agree, and making sure that the riverfront is available to the public.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice how, I don't know if it's Jersey City, how they have that waterfront. It's like, it has a lot of restaurants that overlooks the water. I don't know. It's just a lot of industrial companies back there. The challenge.
Is there anything this is really a tough question. In the Doremus redevelopment area, are there any landmarks, any historical landmarks, or are there any things that we really want to protect? And I'm laughing as I say that because I can't think of any.
I don't.
Yeah, that's sort of interesting in that whole area. There must be something in that area that we really want to keep.
Colette did a whole report. I don't know, Colette, do you know?
No, I did not deal with the historical sites. Sorry.
Well, is there anything else, and that maybe it's not historical that we want to, I mean, I can't just, nothing comes to mind that seems, which I think is probably the opportunity, since since we can't think of anything that really we want to preserve, it means that we have somewhat of a blank slate. All right, we're about to leave. Thank you very much for participating. And we hope we see you again as the project goes forward.
What I
I'm going
mean
to
for that, go
I,
ahead.
well, for multiple things, I guess.